Hello and welcome back to Real Topics. My name is Mandy Agbajama, and if this is your first time stopping by, you're most welcome. On today's episode, I have with me Mrs. Yetunde, and she's a licensed immigration consultant here in Canada. So basically today, she's here to give us the step-by-step process for applying for the Provincial Nominee Program. Well, welcome to Real Topics. But before we go into the process, let's talk about how you got into this whole immigration stuff.
Thank you, Mandy. So I remember a few years back, I immigrated with my family to Canada, and I remember the whole process, the applying and getting to meet the requirements and all that. I shared it with a few friends, and during the discussion, I realized that I could use this as a medium to assist people, especially with the calls I kept getting at that time, asking questions about how I did it. So yes, I thought, oh sure, why not? Let me see if this is something I can learn and actually do legally in Canada. So that was where the whole process started from.
And yeah, she's here to teach us everything we need to know about PNP. We're going to talk about the Provincial Nominee Program, and a lot of people really want to know. We've addressed the express entry, and people feel like the PNP is probably going to be a shot for them, right? So what do you have to do and how do you go about it?
So starting from the very beginning is to understand what the Provincial Nominee Program is and how it works. The Provincial Nominee Program is a program that allows people, foreign nationals who would like to live in Canada as permanent residents and have the work experience, the education to contribute to the economy of a specific province. It's a program that allows them to apply. Now, to apply through that program, I would say the first step is to know what provinces are in Canada. Canada currently has 10 provinces and 3 territories, and each province have their own requirements and streams. By streams, I mean programs that target certain groups.
Okay.
Whether you're an international student studying in Canada, or you are a skilled worker that can meet certain needs of a province, or you are a business person and you're able to contribute to the economy of that province. So the first thing is to know what provinces are, and the next thing would be for you to know what each province requires to be able to apply through the program. I'll tell you there are various programs, and each province is unique with its own requirements, what makes you eligible, and also on the way to apply. So know the province, know what each province has to offer, the streams, and what stream you are eligible to apply for. Understanding that then takes you to how to apply. Basically, there's a general format that applies to everyone who wants to apply through the Provincial Nominee Program. It's in 2 ways. You could either apply directly to the province, or you set up a profile, an express entry profile at the federal level. While you're setting up your profile, you would indicate that you are interested in a certain province, or you could decide to say you're interested in all provinces, to get a nomination at the setup time, right? And so doing that, if you go through the federal route, if you indicate your interest in the provinces, what happens is periodically each province could look through your profile, and if they feel that they're interested in having you apply, they would give you an invitation of interest. An invitation of interest simply means, hey, Ontario is interested in having you. And then when you get the invitation of interest, you would then go to that province that have given you that invitation, and then you make an application through the province's website.
This is for the federal state, right?
Yes, that is if you want to go through setting up your profile at the federal level.
Okay.
The other way is to go directly to the province you're interested in coming through the stream, and then set up a profile with the province.
Okay.
Periodically, they do rounds, they make draws, and they select people that they would give a nomination to apply. Once you're given the nomination, you'll have to go to the at the federal level to set up an express entry profile if you haven't done that already.
So even if you're going through the province, you still have to create a federal profile.
Correct. That is if the stream you're applying through allows you to make an application without setting up one at the federal. Like I said earlier, there are various streams with various ways through which you can apply. Some will need you, some provinces will say, we need you to set up an express entry profile first at the federal level before you can come to apply at the provincial level. While some would say it's okay, you would apply to the province, and if you get a nomination, then you go to the federal level and then set up your profile and submitting. In part of the process of setting up is also including that you have a nomination from a province. And the good thing about it is having a nomination from the province puts you at a good place, because points for a nomination from a province is 600. So that just increases your chances to receive an invitation to apply.
Yes. Can you say that again?
I know, 600 points. When you get nominated,
when you get nominated, you get 600 points.
It adds 600 points, yes, to you. You know, when you set up your profile at the federal level.
That actually makes you in, like...
Oh, sure, yes! Like, that's like the...
Like it's the trophy you
honestly, I tell you, so
and
yes.
trophy you will get, because like that's all you need. Because I know people, even the last draw for like the express entry last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks was 440.
Yes.
Wow.
So you can imagine having, for sure.
You're definitely coming to Canada.
Yes, so that's the process. You can either go directly to the province, or you set up a profile at the federal level, and then if you get an invitation of interest from a province, then you go to the province's website to set up your own express. But basically, either way, you still have to apply directly to the province. So that's why it's always recommended that you do your homework, go to the province and see the one, if it's a stream that you can apply directly through, you make the application.
So what are the other steps that you have to go through? Like, what are the eligibility requirements?
It depends on the stream through which you would like to apply. For instance, if you are applying through the PhD graduate stream, for instance, that the Ontario province has as one of its streams, of course you need to be a PhD graduate in Canada, right? If you're applying as a skilled worker, it's important for you to know the occupations that they are asking for, and so to have the required work experience in those occupations. For some of the occupations, you need to have a minimum of 9 months. Some is a minimum of 1 year. So it's critical for you to identify the stream and look through to know what the requirements are for that specific streams. For business people, for instance, is for you to have a minimum amount that you're willing to invest in Canada in the business you wish to come through. It's hard to generalize. It's important that you go to the province's website and do your findings to know the requirements for each stream.
And that's a lot of information, because I think a lot of people need to know that too. So like, going through this process, are there certain exams you have to write? Are there certain things you have to provide?
Yes. So the documents, the requirements that is basic to almost all the streams is a language exam that you need to write. and also to get your credentials evaluated by organizations that have been appointed by Canada to do such. So you have a few organizations that you could. WES is one of them. It's common, but that's not the only organization through which you can evaluate your credentials. So doing the language exam, there's IELTS, there's the Canadian benchmark exam. So doing that exam also is something that has to be done before you can apply through most of the streams. And of course, documents that support what you say you have is also what you need to get.
What kind of documents?
So documents that show your work experience. For instance, if you're coming as a skilled worker, you need to get a letter from your employer stating what you did, how many hours you worked, and information about your work history. You need to get it from your employer. Like I say, migrating to Canada is a whole process that is achievable, but yes, these are things that you need to do to support your application to come to Canada. So those are the basic ones. Of course, your family history has a role to play because you need to provide information about your family.
What kind of information?
If you're single or you're married, if you're married, of course, you need information and documents supporting the fact that you're married. The proof of funds also is one aspect where you need to provide proof that you're able to take care of yourself in Canada. And there's a minimum amount that you must show that you have, depending on your family size when coming to Canada.
We're going to talk about that right now because I'm really curious.
So for a single person who would like to apply, you need to show proof of funds, approximately about 13,000 Canadian dollars. You know, show that as your proof of funds to make you eligible. For a family of 3, you need to show about 20,000 approximately. It's about 19,000, and for a family of 7, it's about $35,000. But for each additional family after a family of 7, you need to add about $3,500. You know, additional. Do the math.
Yes,
as the number increases.
Well, that's a lot of money, for being honest.
I know it is, but that's when you convert, right? But yeah, I guess that's what Canada says you need to have to be able to immigrate to Canada.
So having all this information, right? What is the next process?
Okay, so once you have all your documents, you set up your profile. If you do get a nomination and you include it in your express entry profile, it's almost certain when the next round of draws come up, you may get an invitation to apply.
Talking about draw, I know PNP draw is not the easiest.
Draws don't have a specific time, like the government won't tell you, oh, these are the time. They could, but you know, the draws that determine who applies are at certain periods. So each province have timelines through which they accept applications through the streams that they have. For instance, in Ontario, the graduate stream is currently closed. So for master's graduate stream, so for those who've done their master's program and would like to apply through that stream to Ontario, it's currently closed. So it's for you to know what streams are open. And a way to know is, of course, through the website, and also the provincial website would also give updates on when it would or if it is about to open. So a good thing to do is to ensure you check on a regular basis the website to get updates on programs that are available, or when the ones that are not available will become open.
So when you get, when you get nominated, what's next?
So yes, when you get nominated, you'd have to include that at your express entry at the federal level, and then when they make their rounds, they will send you an invitation to apply.
Okay.
So an invitation to apply means now you can put in an application for permanent residency. And putting in an application for permanent residency means all the documents you're able to submit, and also complete the forms that need to be completed for the stream you have applied for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next step after a nomination. You get an invitation to apply. An invitation to apply gives you a time frame through which you must submit an application. 60 days now. You submit the application, submit your supporting documents. All this is done online. And once the application, then the processing for a permanent residency, begins, and then all things being equal, you get
get called. Do they have to go through medicals as well?
Sure, yes, that's one of the things that have to be done, but that's done after you made your application.
Okay.
So you would receive a letter to do the medicals and give you a time frame for which you have to get that done. Yes, I also would like to include that police certificates is one thing that also needs to be done.
So in the police
part
bar.
of what to submit for when you make the application, at the point of making the application.
So would you recommend PNP for anybody?
Sure, yes, I would recommend applying through the province. First, for the fact that it would add 600 points to you at the federal level when you submit your express entry profile. That's like an almost sure way, of getting an invitation to apply. So sure, applying through the Provincial Nominee Program would be a good way to go. And also to mention, you do have some provinces that have requirements that allow certain people who may not meet all the criteria to apply.
Wow.
Yes, so if a province if they have a certain need, they could request people who are able to meet that need in that occupation to apply, right? And if you have all your documents, if you have your IELTS done, even if you did not have the high points in code at the federal level, you are able to put up your application and you get nominated. So it's a good way through which foreign nationals can actually come to Canada. What I always recommend is, even if a program is currently closed, or in quotes you don't meet the requirements now, does not mean you cannot work towards meeting those requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, if you did your IELTS or your English exam, language test, and the scores were not high enough to give you the kind of points you would like that would add to your points, you could retake the exam. Or if you find out that getting an extra certificate would increase your points, you could do that and work towards being eligible for the stream you wish to. I always say, get your documents. Making yourself application ready is critical to being able to apply through the provincial nominee.
So being a licensed immigration consultant, I believe you've been able to help a lot of people. What do you really have to say with regards to people that are migrating from Nigeria to Canada?
It's achievable, and you would make up your mind, decide that this is a goal you're setting, and you'll do all it takes to come to Canada. Information is available to know all you need to do to come. You can get that information at the cic.gc.ca website, the step-by-step process. And if for some reason it's a lot for you to take in and understand, I would recommend getting help of a licensed consultant to assist with the application. As a licensed or consultant, we have the training, we understand the process, what is needed, so we are able to assist people, clients who would like to immigrate by showing them or guiding them through the step-by-step process, making the application on their behalf.
Thank you, Mrs. Yetunde, for joining us on Real Topics today, and I believe a lot of people literally enjoyed this session because it was really informative. And for those of you that are already in the pool or literally want to go through the PNP process, this is your go-to option. So if you need to reach out to her, you can actually DM her on Instagram or possibly email her, because that's even much efficient, or you can actually reach out to me and I'll get you through to her. Alright, well, thanks for watching today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button below. I'll be back with more next time, but until then, please stay safe.